Thank you, and I'm very happy to be here. It's been a good month in general, month of September. So many good news. I was top 50 in the world for AI, and I've recently been named top 20 now in the world for AI. Managed to get into TED Talks after trying for 5 years, and next month I'm going to be filming my LinkedIn course as well on AI. So a lot of good news has happened. And for me, it's a little bit emotional because I actually come from very humble beginnings. I was born in Brazil, where opportunity or even computers or phones were not available at that time. So I've really come a long way, and I'm very proud of what I've done. And the only reason I'm mentioning that is not to gloat, is also just to mention to you guys that if you work smart and if you work hard, so a lot of people say, passion is very important. Of course, passion is key, but passion can be messy. But if you work in a smart way and you try to use technology in the right way, then that can really help you as a person and also in your career as well. And ultimately, the companies you work for, the companies that you own. So for me, it's been a really big blessing finding AI and finding technology. So marketing 2.0. So I'm sure in the past, there's been a lot of people saying this is a new type of marketing, new technology has come out, but I really think that generative AI is going to completely change the marketing scene. So when we look at what has AI done until today, so AI is actually a 50-year-old technology. It's not new. A lot of people think it's only existed a year or so ago because it's become very famous. But 50 years old. When it came out into the mainstream about 20 years ago, there was a lot of hype around AI. A lot of movies started to come out because of AI. Movies like The Terminator and things like that, right? So killer robots, and robots are going to take over the world and all this kind of nonsense. So the expectation was really high, that AI is super intelligent. It's a super intelligent system. And obviously, it didn't live up to that craze. It was used in many companies, but for very specific reasons, and only very, very high-tech companies gained from it. But in the last couple of months, I would say since November when ChatGPT 3 came out, and they broke the world record for the number of subscriptions in 7 days, 100 million subscriptions, it's amazing. It really started to capture people's attention. People started seeing ways of using AI in ways they'd never seen before. They started realizing that AI is a lot more approachable today. So Genai and AI, the biggest difference is it's the first system that you can talk to. It's the first system that anybody can use, regardless if you're a coder, developer, or not. And it takes a couple of minutes to go online, sign up to OpenAI, and there you go. You can start talking to ChatGPT, and if you pay $20 a month, ChatGPT 4, and all the amazing things you can do there, which we'll go over today as well. And of course, you've got now Google Bard, Google Gemini. You have so many alternatives. Also, Meta has come out with their own versions of generative AI. So Genai is pretty amazing. Just to give you an idea in terms of computational power, right? How quick, how intelligent is it? It's beaten pretty much every profession on Earth today. So it's got better scores at professional qualifications in accounting, in the bar exams for law, etc., and most of the engineering tests as well. So it already beats humans in most official tests. To give you another idea of how powerful it is, if you could give a calculation to everybody on Earth and everybody needed to collaborate, it would take everybody on Earth 4 years to solve the problem that generative AI can solve in 1 second. So that gives you an idea already of how powerful it is. And very soon, ChatGPT 5 is coming out. Nobody knows when, but it's going to be within the next couple of months, by the end of the year or beginning of next year. And that's going to do even more incredible things. So one good example here is there was an interview in 60 Seconds by, obviously, I forgot the name of the presenter there, but Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, one of the most powerful men in the world and most powerful companies in the world. So Genai is doing things that we didn't expect. So for instance, nobody taught Genai how to learn the language of Bengali, the language they speak in Bangladesh. But it learned it by itself. So imagine learning a language by yourself by accident. I mean, that's pretty powerful. And it can do that with many, many things too. It's been trained on billions of different types of literature, online and offline as well, that's been digitized. It has a really good contextual understanding of the world. So it's extremely powerful. So from this, we'll build up, and I'll show you how you can use it in the marketing space. And I'm sure some of you have tried it as well. So I was very fortunate a few months ago. I was invited by Elon Musk and his team to take part in a conversation with two other US senators to talk about the future of AI. So before you even wrap your heads around Genai, there's something else coming called general artificial intelligence. So not that you already have enough to try to grapple with and understand, there's something else coming as well. So the general consensus in that conversation was that general artificial intelligence is coming, and it will be available probably in the next 4 or 5 years. So what is general artificial intelligence? So that's the point of when an AI system will be able to do anything that a human can do better than a human or better than a collective group of humans. So that's when it starts to get a little bit scary. Because with IoT, my machines are talking to each other. There's many ways now that machines can learn from each other. Different language models can learn from each other, challenge each other, and make each other better. So just imagine if you start having systems and machines also talking to each other through IoT using general artificial intelligence. That's why a lot of people are scared about the theory of singularity, which is when AI systems will end up taking over the world. I personally don't think that will happen anytime soon. I don't think humans are that stupid. But it is definitely going to be a risk. And just like if you give a human being, a spade or a hammer to do something, legit with it, there will always be some bad actors that use it for the wrong things. The same thing will happen with generative AI and general artificial intelligence as well. So if you don't believe anything I'm going to say today, maybe you believe what other companies are saying. Companies like McKinsey, Bloomberg, Goldman Sachs, etc. So it is a general belief that generative AI will add to the world GDP. It will make us produce more goods, more services. And there's anything between 7 to 12% is the estimate of additional GDP that it will create. So does anybody know what the GDP of the world is today? Any takers? So it's about $100+ trillion a year. That's the world GDP. So this will add at least 7 to 12 trillion more within the next 2 or 3 years. That's a lot of money. We're not talking billions, we're talking trillions. And if you look at the graph from McKinsey, marketing is way up there in terms of how much value it can create. But on the bottom right, you can see the amount of spend that you're going to need to create that value. So marketing is actually in a beautiful sweet spot when it comes to generative AI, because you don't need a lot of budget to make it happen. But the amount of value you can create out of it in terms of additional sales, getting better brand recognition, etc., is going to be through the roof. So I'm actually really excited we're going to talk about this today, because it's the more creative side of AI, which was a point that nobody thought was going to be possible just 2 years ago. Everybody blamed AI systems for not being able to be creative, and that's one sign of intelligence, right? To be able to create things out of the blue. So a big area where generative AI can help in marketing is video production. So you could take a picture of yourself or a picture of something and put it in something called Midjourney, which you need an application called Discord to run. But that's going to change soon. They're going to launch a website where it's available, like OpenAI. And then you can give it a couple of prompts, put it through another AI called Runway. Gen 2 has come out. And you can create a whole video out of it. You can create a whole high-level production video just by using these two applications that cost less than $100 a month. Whereas before, you'd have to have graphic designers, video editors, producers, all kinds of things to produce any type of marketing videos. So I've seen adverts created for major car companies, major sports companies, completely done with these two applications. And we're talking a couple of hours or days at most, if there's a lot of perfection that goes into it, not weeks or months. And we're talking, again, a couple of $100, pounds, euros, not thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands to build this type of campaign. And I promise you, with the right curiosity, the right attitude, and just by trying a little bit, all of you could do it. I have an 8-year-old son who is starting to use these things today, and he's building things out of it. There was another group as well a couple of months ago that I saw that they're creating entire new episodes of South Park. God bless them, and God bless the world for having more South Park, but there you go. where they've created a loop where there's endless amount of episodes of South Park. And they did it using these applications and a couple of others. Again, for a couple of hundred, or at this point, because it's a bigger production, a few £1,000s. So this is where your marketing team with a limited budget comes in, where there's no longer such an excuse to say, to the powers above or the board or whoever is your boss, chief marketing officer, that you don't have enough budget. You can create all kinds of things now just by using these two applications and some others I'm going to show you as well. So when it comes to filming, let's say if your CEO wants to provide a message to the workforce, when it comes to providing training videos, that has drastically changed now as well with AI avatars. So the other day, I created a digital copy of myself. I copied my voice, and I copied my face, my body, and my expressions. It took me about 3 or 4 hours to do it in total, because I had to do it for a very high-end production. This is in 4K resolution. I put it out into my LinkedIn network, ran a poll. 87% of people had no clue if it was me or if it wasn't me. It was that perfect. And a lot of people hear me speak, even though I'm a public speaker. So there's a couple of good solutions out there, Synthesia, HeyGen. My favorite at the moment is DeepReal. It's the cheapest. It gives you very natural expressions, and it uses the voice generation machine from 11 Labs and a couple of others to perfect the voice as well, because the voice is something very difficult to get right. So again, marketing budgets. When you want to produce those training videos for HR, or when you get a couple of champions in your company that you want to train other people on, very easy to make a copy of them. And then when you're going to make the training material, you just type out the script, and that's it. There's no lights, there's no cameras, there's no makeup. So that's a huge change in the way that you produce videos. For your CEOs, for instance, they want to, instead of sending that newsletter by text on emails, which is really not an approachable way to talk to your employees, get them to make a video. Once you've made a digital version of them, you can produce videos to your heart's content. So again, with this, there is also the dark side of it called deepfakes. So you've seen maybe some videos of someone copying Morgan Freeman, saying some pretty strange things, and amongst other politicians. Again, the example of the shovel and the hammer, right? You can use it for doing the wrong things. But in terms of the corporate world and owning those images, putting good messages out there, providing good training videos and material, I think it's a great solution for you, especially if you're strapped for budget, right? And you really want to do something more as a marketing team. When I meet heads of marketing, the biggest frustration I hear is not enough budget, not enough people. So now that you have this power in your hands, you can really do a lot more with the same budget, or even convince the powers to be to give you just a little bit more, given that you have these new skill sets. So it's a great way to approach them again and to talk about budgets one more time. But again, proofs of concepts, proofs of values, you've got to showcase the possibilities of this technology to the different departments and get them to buy in to give you more funding as well. That would greatly help you. The other thing this could be useful for, obviously, is for social media, right? So obviously, you would like to put out more campaigns about the companies that you work in. Again, budget is a constraint. So again, if you have the right people that have been digitized, the right voices that have been copied, you can produce a lot more material there for social media as well and for other campaigns. Has anybody ever used any of these tools today? Hands up. A couple of people. Good. So that's probably 1 or 2%. So if you remember the people that stuck their hands up, go and speak to them because they've tried it and they have a few battle scars. But it's definitely worthwhile you looking at this. This is a big game changer for marketing. So another area where you can use in your day-to-day life is pay for ChatGPT 4 and get the extra plugins. So plugins allow you to do pretty cool things. So for instance, if I'm going to summarize a speech somebody has done or a lecture somebody has done, I can get a plugin in generative AI to listen to that speech. It's called VoxScript. It will summarize the entire speech for me within seconds. You don't have to watch it over many hours, etc. You can also use it for generating scripts for people who are going to be filming something for you. So again, the CEO rocks up. He doesn't have time to prepare for things. You have his script fully ready, fully contextualized in what's happening in the world today and what's happening in your company. So plugins are a great way to kind of generate text, to play with the creative side of production material and what you need to do there as well. There's also a plugin for Canva. So a lot of you produce posters, marketing, graphic material. There's a great plugin where you can ask ChatGPT-4 to create a poster for you from scratch. It takes literally seconds. You don't have to ask the graphic designer, bribe them with wine or whatever you need to do to get it done faster. You can go and do it yourself. Again, with a couple of prompts and just playing around, you can get that done very quickly. Again, no need for graphic designers from that point of view. And if you got the material from this plugin, you can run it through Midjourney, play with it as well. So that's another place where you can create marketing material as well. So in terms of posters, graphics, things that you need to put up in print in the office, or things that you need to put up into the screens in the office, there is a lot of easy ways that you can do it through these plugins. So again, $20 a month. I paid from the American side, so I don't know how much it is for euros or pounds, but it would be roughly the same. Very cheap, right? This is something you can charge back to the company. Nobody will complain. Has anybody used plugins yet for ChatGPT-4? 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 6 hands. Speak to those people because they're very curious. They have the right attitude. It's very important for you to play with this. It doesn't cost you anything, right? You just open it up, you play with it. If you don't like it, you can shut it down. But I'm sure with your creative minds, you can come up with many, many ways of using those plugins. So in OpenAI, there is a marketplace for these plugins. So when you go in ChatGPT-4, you click on Plugin Library. You can see the whole library that exists. And we're talking about hundreds of plugins, and it's growing by the day. On the marketing side, you have email marketing plugins. You have chatbots that can speak to your customers by using the context and the information inside your company. So not much training needs to be done or tweaking. You have bots that create marketing material that improve the SEO of your websites. So no more need to contract SEO experts or engineers. You can do that by yourself now, today as well. So there's a huge playground and of things that you could do there just by playing with the plugins. So definitely worthwhile checking out. When you look at, I don't know if you know, but around about February time, Microsoft bought half of OpenAI for $10 billion. And what they've been doing since then is integrating OpenAI into all of the Microsoft suite. And this is called Copilot. So it literally means you have a Copilot next to you to help you with anything that you do within Microsoft. So everything to do with sorting out your emails and prioritizing the ones which are important. And it does it really, really well. To analyzing data, maybe numbers you're trying to run for an event or for a campaign, crunching different ways of doing it, where to spend the money, allocation, etc. All the way to actually creating creative material in PowerPoint or in other applications in Microsoft. So the other day I tried this. I was in a bit of a rush. I was trying to win a pitch. I did a couple of prompts because I have access to Copilot. And it came out pretty much 80–90% of it was done. I gave context of the previous decks that I had created before, gave a couple of prompts of things that I wanted it to highlight, and within a couple of seconds, it was ready. With my logo, with my branding, everything was there. So this could be very useful for you in terms of creating templated material, or pitching for something, or if you want to explain a campaign to another department from your marketing team. Very easy to do that using Copilot. So some companies don't have access to Copilot yet, but some of them do. I imagine that most companies will get access to it throughout this year. So it just depends where you're at and which industry you're in, but it is getting launched this year. And this is something that's going to be available to almost every company that has a Microsoft license. So it's coming anyway, so it's worthwhile taking note of it now. One difference between Copilot and ChatGPT and the other language models available is that it's going to be specific for Microsoft tools like Outlook, PowerPoint, Excel, etc. So I would still play with OpenAI and play with the other models as well. Again, they're all free. You can go and sign up to them with a few minutes. So I wouldn't limit yourself to just saying, like some people have come up to me and said, well, what's the point of me waiting? I should just wait instead of just playing around with things and getting my brain fried. But ultimately, Copilot is not going to do everything that ChatGPT-4 or ChatGPT-5 does. and the other models from Google as well. So again, something that's coming, get ready for it, and there's already some good training courses on Microsoft's website. I think it's called the Academy, where you can do some of this training already. It's very easy to understand. Again, my 8-year-old son does it, and he's only 8, so I'm sure he can do it. Oh, it's a shame you can't see that, but basically, one other way to approach this in your company is to say, look, this is not just about marketing. This is about, is my 30 minutes up? Someone's alarm's going off. This is not just about marketing. This is about all of the departments. So generative AI is going to help every department, IT, finance, HR. So one thing you could do, if you see your company not moving in this direction, you could produce a couple of examples of things you've done with generative AI, present it, team up with everybody else who's a team leader in your company, and then present it to management and say, look, we need budget for this. We need a center of excellence to start building this stuff for us. So that's one way, again, to get access to this, by doing it that way in a collaborative form with other departments too. So if you don't have the courage to go by yourself to speak to higher level management, you can do it with other department leads as well and just go, hand in hand, arms locked. The percentages at the bottom show you the impact that GenAI can have on these departments. So you can see it's from 20 to 60%. I mean, if you change anything by 20% even, it's huge, right? If you're an athlete and you become 20% faster, I mean, that's game-changing. And I'm sure all of you are trying to run your departments really well. Every part of the business must be optimized by now, because some of these businesses have been around for 2 weeks, been around for a long time. But I assure you, with this, you can have a completely different viewpoint on how to do work. And this can really, really help efficiency. So just to wrap up on what impact GenAI will have, it's actually going to give you more creativity. So I don't know if you saw, but a couple of months ago, there were protests in Hollywood about ChatGPT being used to write scripts. Actors were protesting. Everybody was protesting. But there were a select few people in Hollywood that were actually using these tools to become more creative. And that's where the narrative changed, because creative people started seeing that, well, this could be an avenue for me to become more creative, for me to do better in what I do. So with you guys being mostly from the marketing side of things, you are more creative, I think, than people in finance, hopefully. So you do have a tendency to think outside of the box. Just by playing with these tools, I think you'll become even more creative. So it's very important that you try that, because if you don't, other people that do use it in your area or outside of your company, competitors, etc., they will be using it. And I imagine that is going to be a really big game changer for marketing especially. So the cost as well will go down. Like I said, you can do more with the same budget, or you can argue for a slightly higher budget, but you can do way more with it. So the impact you can have on the business is going to go up many multiples, I would imagine, if you do it right. And also, when it comes to client retention, client satisfaction, you're going to be able to do a lot more personalized marketing as well. So the general marketing that suits everybody, you're going to be able to do really targeted marketing. Specific marketing for specific types of clients by using GenAI, because you have data about your clients, but you just don't have the power or the people to be able to tailor it for every client. But with this, you can tailor it for every client as well. So clients are going to feel like they're being listened to more. The way I would go about it is in a couple of ways. So you've got to read more about this. You've got to try to understand it a bit more. Don't leave it for next month, next week. Really get onto it tonight if you don't drink too much champagne. Or maybe that's a good idea. You get even more better results there. Get people trained in your team. Get people trained in your company. Encourage them to do this collectively. And it's really important for you to start brainstorming ideas, because with something so creative like this, you can end up doing 100 things but never delivering anything. And it will make it look like it's a bit of a fad, just like the old AI conversations from 5-10 years ago. So have a focus in mind. Have a list of opportunities of things you want to do with GenAI, and then work backwards that way. Then you get results out of it. You can showcase it to the business, etc. And it's very important for you to win hearts and minds that way, by showing results that this does exist. It's not just a fad. It's not like cryptocurrency or anything else. This actually does exist, and it can actually produce results. So there's a lot of work to be done. I think as soon as you leave this room, or tomorrow, or maybe next week, really think about how this could impact you, how this can impact your business. Start playing with it if you haven't played with it already. And I promise you, you will never look back. The people that have started using this, there was an 80-year-old woman the other day that came up to me. She was getting ready to retire. She works in the HR department. And she literally told me that she canceled her retirement because of Genai. She started looking at sentiment analysis for the workforce. Are people happy? Plugging it into communications, all kinds of things. And she had never done any coding in her life. So some people have found new purpose in their lives because of Genai. And it sounds a little sad to say that, but once you start playing with it, you'll start understanding really the kind of power you can have in your hands if you know how to use these systems. So thank you very much, and I hope you've enjoyed it.